Hi, this is Brandon Tripp for FPUathletics.com. We're here with men's soccer head coach Jaime Ramirez, getting ready for the NCCAA West Region Playoffs. And Jaime, it's been a great season for you guys. Just kind of talk about the beginning of the season and where you thought your guys could go.
Well, I knew we were going to have a good team coming in with our returning juniors and seniors, and not really knowing what the Pac West, the conference, would bring to us by way of the kinds of teams and the talent of those teams. It was a new experience. So for me, I was hoping that we would carry the last year's championship GSAC season into this new experience that would allow us to compete for one of the top spots. Obviously didn't anticipate how it started with Cal Baptist and Grand Canyon, who one of the top two teams, and now that we know Grand Canyon was the champion, it certainly puts things in perspective for us. I knew they were going to be tough. I knew Notre Dame was going to be tough. Can't say enough about Cal Baptist and Azusa Pacific. It was the other schools that I wasn't sure how we were going to respond to them. And frankly, I was surprised. I was surprised at how we, except for that setback in Hawaii against Hawaii Pacific, I was pleasantly surprised and pleased that we were able to put things together offensively like very, very few teams have done in the history of our program. And also the rest of the competition did to those other teams in terms of scoring 4, 5, 6, 7 goals against them. So, yeah, I mean the expectations were a little bit uncertain in some cases, and in other cases, in some respect, I should say, we knew what we had coming into the conference, and I'm glad that those kinds of expectations manifested themselves.
And part of knowing what you had coming into the season was a lot of your senior leadership, Paul Islas, Fabrizio Nazare, Luke Tyler, guys like that. Just kind of talk about with some of the adversity that this team has gone through with the Cal Baptist game and the Grand Canyon game and fighting through injuries. Talk about how that senior leadership has been important for you guys this season.
Well, it's been important because another thing that factor that sometimes is not known or is not weighed in is how the early season suspensions play themselves out in terms of how we started the season, missing 4 guys for our first game, 2 guys for our second game, and how we had to build on that little by little. And I've talked about the experience that those players that replace those individuals that couldn't play at the beginning, the experience that they gained as a result of that. And so once we got the team complete, yeah, then the leadership of the senior players, and I consider Luke a senior player, even though this is his 3rd season of competition. The leadership that we received in the back from him, from Rodrigo up front, taking the brunt of marking because of his style of play. He's a true 9, as we say in soccer. He's a target player, alleviating a little bit of the pressure from a guy like Paul Islas, who has been dynamic all season long and benefiting from defenses that don't know much about him, and has been able to capitalize on his speed and his ability to finish. Also from a guy like Stephen Waite, who came in as the preseason favorite to start in goal for us after having won a GSAC championship last year, and then in the middle of the season losing that starting job to Fabian Rangel, and being just the ultimate teammate in that whole process, and supporting the team and supporting Fabian. And also being pushed a little bit from behind by our freshman goalkeeper, Andrew Lewis, as well, who's gained a valuable experience this year. And then looking into the midfield, our leadership in the midfield by Fabrizio Nazare, who has been, in my opinion, and I said this at the conference call at the beginning of this week, that in my opinion, he's our most complete player in the conference. Because he's attacking, he's defending, he sets up goals, he scores himself. Injuries have obviously limited his overall full season productivity, but he's been fantastic. And a quiet leader that we have in Jorge Dominguez, our other senior, that stepped into a role in the midfield that we weren't expecting at the beginning, because we had the young sophomore that became injured, Eric Velarde, who was just doing really, really well. And then we called on Jorge to fill that role, and he's been admirable. He's done a fantastic job. So our seniors have contributed significantly to where we're at right now, and I expect the same this Thursday.
And talk about some of the newcomers that we've seen this year. You mentioned Fabian Rangel and Alvaro Nogales, especially in the offensive end. Talk about what the new players this year have added, both offensively and defensively, to your team, and especially a guy like Ivan Mrkovic in the center back.
Yeah, when we go from the back to the front, and you look at what Fabian has done coming into training camp, I mean, we can say arguably 20 pounds overweight, and not ever being in a training camp environment like ours before in his youth and in his community college experience. And suddenly in the middle of the first week realizing, what did I get myself into? But also recognizing that I have to step up to the challenge. And little by little, losing the weight, gaining the confidence, showcasing his skills and abilities, because those were never in question as to whether he could play the position or not. He was a pleasant surprise coming in as a walk-on. And then again, getting into shape and earning the starting spot and making some of the most spectacular saves that we've seen in this program to keep us in games. And then again, Ivan Mrkovic, a recruit from Oxnard Community College by way of Serbia. He has been solid in the back. What a leader. He talks, he communicates. English is a second language to him, but the soccer language is universal. And he makes his point across loud and clear at the beginning of the season. I think there were some misunderstandings with some players in terms of what he wanted from them, and his commitment to to defend, to win the ball, and to have everybody do the same. And we sorted those out, and I think he demonstrated and he showed to the rest of the team that I'm here to compete, and I'm here to compete at the top level that we possibly can, and I'm here to win something, to do something special. And he's shown that for us. And Alvaro Nogales. Goodness, he's a freshman from Spain that waited all year last year under NCCAA rules and regulations. He had to sit out. He wasn't eligible at the beginning of the season, and then finally his eligibility came through, which allowed him to be grandfathered into the NCAA. And I knew he was going to be good. I wasn't sure if he was going to be this good. And 12 goals, 12 assists, unbelievable balance of attack and assists. And for him to get this experience, to get to know our conference and our competitors at a Division II level, I think that his future is very, very bright, for us. So I'm excited. I'm excited for our newcomers and the way they've contributed to where we're at right now.
Looking ahead to the playoff game this Thursday, Trinity Lutheran, a team you guys haven't seen, but you do have one common opponent from this season in Cal State San Marcos. Just kind of looking at film and from what you hear from other coaches, what do you know about Trinity Lutheran, and what are some of the problems they're going to present for you guys on Thursday?
Well, my understanding from the scouting report is that they are very technical. They love to play with the ball more on an individual level than collective. They do a very good job at it. Obviously, they create enough opportunities. With our common opponent in San Marcos, they beat San Marcos 3-1 at a tournament in Salt Lake City. Westminster, Utah put together a tournament there in a neutral site, and we beat San Marcos here at home 4-0. I think it's a good matchup. If they like to hold on to the ball, I suspect that they like possession also. And, we like possession. I don't know that they've seen anyone that moves the ball as quickly as we do in possession. I don't know that they've seen the kind of finishers that we have. I'm hoping that our boys will display that kind of ability that that we've displayed all season long in scoring 4, 5, 6 goals against our opponents, I feel like we're in a situation where they're going to have to outscore us. I just don't see how that's going to happen. But we're conscious of the fact that they've made it to this point. They are worthy. They're a worthy opponent. We have to respect them. But we have to take care of our own style of game and impose that on them, and see what happens. I'm excited about it. I understand that their 2 center backs are very talented and they like to hold on to the ball. I think if we put a little pressure on them and we're able to strip them, we might be able to create some early opportunities from the get-go.
And not trying to look too far ahead, but if you do beat Trinity Lutheran on Thursday, you play the winner of Azusa Pacific and Cal Baptist, 2 teams you have played this season once already. Just kind of talk a little bit about each team and talk about the difficulties in playing an opponent more than once in a year, and just how that kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, but it gives you an opportunity to see someone that you've seen before. You have a good scouting report on them. Fortunately for us, we played both of them here at home. We have video. We've analyzed it already. I think it will give us another opportunity to revisit that. We're going to try to get a scouting report of that game also to see what consistencies excuse me, to see what consistencies there are in their play, in their style of play from when they were here. And also what types of changes that may have taken place if they've put players in different positions, or if they're coming up with a different game scheme, those kinds of things. But I'm excited about that also, again, with all due respect to our match against Trinity Lutheran and not looking past them. But though that's the fact that we could play, we get through. We could play one of those 2 teams that we have a long history with them. Azusa, because of their recent history of success in the GSAC and NAIA nationally, our 2 victories against them, and just the opposite with Cal Baptist, because our history with Cal Baptist has been that we've had the upper hand on them. And yet, in the last year of their NAIA experience, they came here and beat us. And then this year, in our first year of NCAA Division II, they came here and beat us under different circumstances. But nonetheless, both of them have with it a certain level of expectation that excites me to know that we can play either one, and I'm okay.
All right. Well, Coach, good luck this Thursday, and thanks a lot. Just want to remind you that the game is Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here at Ramirez Field. For FPUathletics.com, I'm Brandon Tripp.